Chapter 4. A Conversation with Coco. Sophia lowers the pistol at once. She steps forward and stretches her gun-free hand toward the frightened boy. "Come down," she croaks, her voice hoarse and relieved. "Don't be scared. I won't hurt you. Please come down." The boy stares back. He squints against the light, but other than this, his expression remains blank. Sophia notices how thin he is and wonders when he last enjoyed a decent meal. His red hair is long and stringy, and the plentiful freckles on his dirt-streaked face look like a human connect the dots. His Jurassic Park t-shirt, on the other hand, appears almost new, as do his blue jeans. She also notices that he is shivering. At first, she thought he was trembling with fear. Now she realizes his chattering teeth tell the tale of a boy outside too long on a chilly night. "Come inside and warm up," she urges. "Please, you're freezing. There's a ladder in back. You can use that." The boy moves warily toward the motorhome's rear, where a narrow ladder joins bumper to roof. Aided by the light of Sophia's headlamp, he climbs down until his shoes land with a crunch upon the gravel. Bixby, always the friendly dog, approaches the boy. His tail whips vigorously back and forth. Now that he sees Sophia relaxing, his worries about the intruder have vanished. But the boy's worries remain. He steps backward, away from the dog. "It's okay," Sophia assures him. "He's very nice. He just didn't know who you were before. He probably thought you were a bad guy. Hold out your hand and let him smell you." The boy hesitates, then does as told. With his nose only an inch from the boy's hand, Bixby takes a few good whiffs. Then his long pink tongue licks the dirty fingers. Sophia notices the faintest glimmer of a grin on the boy's lips, and it brings a smile to her own. "So, will you come in?" she asks again. He nods. 5 minutes later, he's sitting at the motorhome's little table. Bixby is next to him, resting his head in the boy's lap. Fear and mistrust forgotten, he scratches the dog gently behind the ears. In front of him is a steaming mug of cocoa, beside a bowl he has licked clean of every trace of cheesy ravioli. Sophia, who gave the rest of her dinner to him, removes a second bowl from the microwave to replace the empty one. Apparently unaffected by the scalding heat, the boy begins wolfing it down immediately. "You should probably chew a little," Sophia says. She finds his starved eating both amusing and a bit sad at the same time. "You're gonna get an upset stomach if you don't." The boy glances up at her timidly, as if afraid he might offend her, and slows his pace. Tomato sauce dribbles down his chin as he eats, but he doesn't seem to notice or care. When he is finished with the food, he grabs the cocoa mug and downs half of it. After wiping his mouth with the back of his hand, he sets the mug on the table and looks at Sophia with dark, bleary eyes. "Thanks," he mutters. It's the first word he has spoken since coming down from the roof. "You're welcome," Sophia replies warmly. "What's your name?" he asks meekly. He still seems worried he might upset his hostess. And her gun. "I'm Sophia," she answers. "Sophia Faraday. Who are you?" "Gabriel," he replies. Sophia scuffs the floor nervously with her toe. She is surprised to find herself at a loss for words. On lonely nights, she has often spoken to her mom and dad as if they were really with her. When watching a beautiful sunset, she has described it aloud to her missing brothers, who would have loved to see it. But now she realizes just how long it has been since she had a real conversation with another person. It isn't as easy as she remembers. "You were up by the arch tonight, weren't you?" she asks, although she already knows the answer. The boy, Gabriel, nods. "That's what was making Bixby go so crazy," continues Sophia. "You were scared, so you hid in the bush." Gabriel nods again, but doesn't say anything. He finishes his cocoa in 3 gulps, then eyes Sophia hopefully. "Do you want more?" she asks. Again he nods, but doesn't speak. "I'll get you some, but only if you start talking," she tells him, trying to sound as warm as possible. She wants him to feel comfortable, but realizes this might be difficult. 15 minutes ago, she was pointing a gun at him. Now, she says, when there is a second mug of cocoa in front of him, will you tell me how you found me? Gabriel nods. He seems to be choosing his words carefully. That's when it strikes Sophia. Little Gabriel also hasn't had a conversation in a very long time. Words might be tougher for him to come by. Eventually, he says, I'm from Grand Junction, in Colorado. That's how I found you. I climbed on the roof when you stopped to put gas in your car. When he says the word car, he indicates the whole motorhome. He isn't sure what to call it. Sophia thinks back and remembers Bixby going crazy with the barking then, too. At the time, she figured he was feeling cooped up after their long drive. Really, it was because a little hitchhiker was hitching his ride to Utah on their roof. Her mouth drops in astonishment, and she says, You mean you were hanging on that whole time? For 2 hours? Gabriel shrugs. His eyes are downcast, and his voice cracks as he whispers, I didn't want to be alone anymore. Sophia feels her own emotions rising into her chest and throat. How many nights did she herself spend soaking her pillow in tears? How many days was she too sad even to eat anything? She remembers a loneliness so heavy she sometimes thought she would die from it. And she's had Bixby with her the whole time. She wonders how much sadder and lonelier and more difficult life has been for this boy named Gabriel since everyone disappeared. Well, you aren't alone anymore, she says with a kind smile. You can stay with us. She glances down at her dog, whose head is resting on Gabriel's lap, and adds, Besides, I think Bixby likes you too much to let you go. Gabriel grins and scratches the soft fur behind the dog's floppy ears. He asks, Can we go back to my house so I can get my things? I know it's a long way back, but... Sophia cuts him off. Yes, for sure we can. My house, well, I guess it's more like my home base, is near Denver. Do you know where that is? Gabriel nods and says, I was there a few times with my family when I was little. Anyway, continues Sophia, we can stop and get your stuff on our way back to Denver. After a short silence, Gabriel asks, How old are you? I'm 12, Sophia answers. Things like time and age don't seem to matter anymore, but she has kept track of every single day since being on her own. And, as lame as it must seem, she has also done something special on her birthday each year. How about you? She asks. 9, I think, Gabriel says uncertainly. It was my 6th birthday when everyone disappeared. I was outside playing in the snow with my mom and my sisters. We were almost going back inside and then they were gone. I ran around everywhere looking for them and couldn't find them. Then I tried calling 911, but no one answered. And then I heard a car crash into the neighbor's house next door, so I went over there, but there was no one in the car. And Mr. Pitts, who never left home, wasn't there either. Sophia watches the pain grow in Gabriel's face as he relives the terror of his story. She wants him to stop for his own sake, but he keeps going. Now that he is finally talking, the years of bottled-up words keep gushing. I tried knocking on every neighbor's house on my street, but there was no one, he says. I heard a bunch of crashes, and there was so much smoke, and I even saw a plane crash in the middle of town. But I never saw any people. And my dad never came home that night. I fell asleep, and when I woke up, everything was quiet. I walked around all day. I looked for people in all the houses and the grocery store, but everyone was disappeared. Gabriel's tears leave streaks down his filthy cheeks as he whimpers. You're the first person I've seen since then. I thought I was the last person alive anywhere. Sophia doesn't know what to say. So much about Gabriel's story is similar to her own. All alone, fending for himself, scratching out a survival. Yet she cannot help but notice that some of the key details are very different. So you were actually here when everyone disappeared? She asks him curiously. Gabriel nods, confused by her simple question. I wasn't, Sophia says. The boy's eyes widen with surprise. You weren't? But then, how can you be here? Sophia chuckles and answers, I don't really know. It's a mystery to me, too. I don't know how any of this happened. I can only tell you what happened. But a quick glance at the clock, and then at Gabriel's drooping eyes, reminds her how late it is, so she says, Maybe that's a story for tomorrow. I can tell you about it when we're on the road. Right now, I think we both need some sleep. Gabriel frowns but doesn't protest. You can have my bed and back, offers Sophia. It's super comfy. Lots of pillows and blankets. I'll sleep on the couch out here. Are you sure? Gabriel asks hesitantly. Yeah, I'm sure. But just for tonight. When we get back to Denver, we'll figure out something else. Maybe we can find a motorhome with 2 beds. Sophia leads Gabriel to the small bedroom and back, and he flops down on the soft mattress. I have an extra toothbrush somewhere, she says. You should brush your teeth, especially after drinking all that cocoa. She suddenly realizes how much she sounds like her mom. Maria Faraday had been a dentist. She was always worried about sugary drinks. Okay, mumbles Gabriel, whose voice is muffled by the blankets pressed against his face. Sophia didn't plan on becoming a mother when she woke up that morning. Now, here she is, rummaging through the bathroom cabinet for an extra toothbrush. During the last hour, she has gone from a 2-year loneliness to taking care of a 9-year-old boy. That morning, her to-do list for the next few weeks included visiting a 6 national parks. Tomorrow's list now has her returning to Gabriel's home in Grand Junction for more Jurassic Park shirts, or whatever it is he's planning to pick up there. But it's worth it. It's worth changing every plan she's made, because now she won't be alone anymore. Sophia chooses a green toothbrush from the toiletry box in the cabinet and returns to the bedroom. Here's your... she starts to say, but she stops mid-sentence. Gabriel is fast asleep and snoring lightly. Sophia turns out the lights. She leaves the door open a crack in case Bixby wants to lie on the mattress next to him, then puts the toothbrush on a little shelf in the bathroom. As quietly as she can, she brushes her own teeth, turns out the rest of the lights, and collapses onto the sofa. She pulls a heavy denim quilt up to her chin, the one her mom made when she was pregnant with Sophia. She likes to imagine that it still smells like her long-gone family. She closes her eyes, but doesn't fall asleep. Her mind and her heart are too full. Annoyed by her restlessness, Bixby eventually slinks into the bedroom to sleep beside Gabriel. Any other night, she would have forced the dog to stay with her. But not tonight. Tonight, she doesn't mind. Because for the first time in a long time, Sophia Faraday does not feel alone.